The Dubai heat hit me like a wall the moment I stepped off the plane. I wasn't supposed to be here 20-4 hours ago. I was in London debugging code in my cramped flat, living on instant ramen and cold coffee. Then my boss called, emergency tech support. High-profile client, Dubai, you leave tonight. I didn't even have time to pack properly. Now I stood in the marble lobby of the most expensive hotel I'd ever seen, clutching my laptop bag like a life preserver, wondering what kind of high-profile client needed a freelance IT consultant so desperately they'd fly someone halfway across the world. The answer came in the form of a man in traditional white robes, Mr. Bennett. His English was perfect, his expression unreadable. Please follow me. The car was a Rolls-Royce. Of course it was. We drove through streets lined with impossible skyscrapers, each one trying to outdo the last. The afternoon sun turned everything golden, and I pressed my face against the tinted window like a kid at a candy store. This wasn't my world. I was a 26-year-old tech consultant from South London who still lived with 2 roommates and considered pizza a food. Group, we're here, the driver announced. I looked up. The palace, because that's what it was. No other word rose before me, like something from a fantasy novel. White stone gleamed in the sun. Fountains danced in perfect choreography. Gardens stretched in every direction, possibly green against the desert backdrop. My hands started sweating inside. It was even more overwhelming. Marble floors reflected chandeliers the size of small cars. Arched doorways led to rooms I couldn't begin to guess the purpose of. Every surface seemed to shimmer with wealth I couldn't comprehend. His Excellency will see you now, a woman in elegant professional attire said. Gesturing toward a massive wooden door, my heart hammered. I'd fixed computers for CEOs,
celebrities,
even a minor royal once, but something about this felt different. I pushed open the door. The office was huge, but surprisingly modern. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Sleek furniture mixed traditional Arabic design with contemporary minimalism. And behind a desk made of what looked like solid glass sat a man who made my breath catch. He was younger than I expected, maybe 30. Dark hair, sharp jawline, eyes the color of strong coffee. He wore traditional robes, but somehow made them look like high fashion. When he looked up at me, something in my chest did a weird flip. Mr. Bennett. His voice was deep, smooth, with just a hint of accent. Thank you for coming on such short notice. I managed to nod. Professional. Be professional. Of course. What seems to be the problem? Sheikh called it al-Rushidi, because yes, he was an actual sheikh, gestured to a laptop on his desk.
Oh yes.
It won't start. I have important files. Confidential negotiations. Everything is on that machine. I set down my bag and approached, trying not to notice how good he smelled. Something expensive. Sandalwood, maybe. Focus, Marcus. May I? He nodded. I sat down, opened the laptop, and immediately saw the problem. Blue screen of death. Classic hard drive failure. But retrievable, if I was careful. This will take a few hours, I said. I'll need to remove the drive, run diagnostics, hopefully recover your data. Hours. He frowned slightly. I can work quickly, but I can't rush this. Not if you want your files intact. Our eyes met. Something passed between us, a spark. A recognition, I couldn't name it. His gaze held mine for a moment too long, and I felt my face heat. He smiled slightly. Then I suppose I'll have to keep you company. That was how it started. Khalid, please, just Khalid. He insisted after the first hour, didn't leave. He sat in a leather chair nearby, making calls, reviewing documents, occasionally asking me questions about London, about technology. About anything, he was easy to talk to. That surprised me. I'd expected someone formal, distant, untouchable. Instead, he was curious, quick to laugh, genuinely interested in my explanations of corrupted sectors and data recovery protocols. You make it sound like surgery, he observed. Kind of is. Delicate work. One wrong move, and everything's gone. Like many things in life, the way he said it made me glance up. He was watching me with an expression I couldn't read. I quickly looked back at the screen. 3 hours in, I hit a complication. Bad news, I said, sitting back. The corruption's worse than I thought. I can get your files, but I'll need specialized equipment. Do you have a tech supplier here? Khalid made a phone call in rapid Arabic. 20 minutes later, someone delivered a box containing every piece of hardware I'd mentioned, plus several I hadn't. Useful, I muttered. Impressed, despite myself. One advantage of my position, paused, though it comes with many disadvantages. Something in his tone made me look up. Like what? He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Perhaps that's a longer conversation. By hour 5, the sun was setting. Golden light flooded through the windows, painting everything amber and rose. My neck ached from hunching over the laptop, but I was close. So close, almost there, I murmured. Khalid had been quiet for the past hour, but I felt his presence like heat on my skin. When I finally looked up, he was standing by the window, silhouetted against the sunset, and the sight made something in my chest tighten. He was beautiful. The thought came unbidden. Unwanted, dangerous. I was here to fix a computer. That was all. But when he turned and caught me staring, something shifted in his expression. Marcus. Right. My name and his accent sent shivers down my spine. Can I ask you something? Sure, he moved closer. Closer still. Until he was standing right beside my chair, looking down at me with those impossible eyes. My heart threatened to break out of my chest. Do you think I'm handsome? The world stopped. Every sound faded. Every thought scattered. All that existed was Khaled's question hanging in the air between us. And the way he was looking at me, vulnerable, hopeful, terrified, my mouth went dry. This was a test. Had to be some kind of trap. Rich, powerful men didn't ask scruffy London tech guys if they were handsome. Not seriously. Not like this. But his eyes, ... There was no deception there. Just raw honesty. Just a question that clearly cost him something to ask. Double quotes I ... My voice cracked. I cleared my throat. Yes, you're very handsome. His expression softened. You're honest. I like that. Why did you ask? He moved away, back to the window, and I could breathe again, because I never know, he said quietly. People tell me what they think I want to hear. They see the money, the title, the power. Not me. Never just me. Something in my chest ached. I understood that loneliness. Different circumstances. Same isolation. For what it's worth, I said carefully, I barely know what a Sheikh is. To me, you're just ... Khalid, the guy who's been making terrible coffee all afternoon and has genuinely interesting opinions about cybersecurity. He laughed a real laugh. Bright and unexpected. Terrible coffee? Objectively terrible, and you'll have to teach me to make better. The air between us changed, charged, electric. I got his data back at midnight. Every file. Every document. Everything intact. You're a miracle worker, Khalid said, his relief obvious. I'm a nerd with specialized knowledge. I started packing up my equipment. That's all. Stay. I froze. What? Stay. Have dinner with me. It's late. You must be hungry. And I... He hesitated. I'd like you to stay. Every rational part of my brain screamed no. This was a Sheikh. A man with power and influence I couldn't imagine. A man from a world completely different from mine. A man who could be testing me, playing with me, amusing himself. But the way he looked at me... Ciao, I heard myself say. His smile could have powered the entire city. Dinner was served on a terrace. Overlooking the gardens, the night air was warm, but not uncomfortable. Lanterns cast soft light. The food was incredible, course after course of things I couldn't name but immediately loved. And Khalid really talked about growing up in his family. The weight of expectations, the loneliness of his position, about traveling the world but always feeling separate from it. about wanting things he couldn't have, being someone he couldn't be. I listened, and I understood. My family would lose their minds if they knew I was gay, I offered quietly. They're not. They wouldn't get it. So I don't tell them. I live half a life in half-truths. And some days, I'm so tired of it. Khaled's hand moved across the table, stopped just short of touching mine. I know that tiredness, he said softly. Our eyes met. The world reduced to this moment. This connection. This impossible, terrifying, exhilarating possibility. His voice was barely a whisper. I shouldn't feel this way. I barely know you. But when you're near me, I feel ... awake. Real. Like I can finally breathe. My hand closed the distance. Our fingers intertwined. I feel it too. I admitted, nothing happened that night. Not physically, but everything changed. We talked until dawn, painted the sky pink and gold. We shared histories and hopes and fears. We laughed until our sides hurt and fell into comfortable silences that felt like coming home. When the sun rose, Khaled walked me to my room. Stay a few more days, he said. I know it's asking a lot, but ... stay, please. I should have said no. I had work, responsibilities, a life back in London. But looking at him, seeing past the robes and the palace and the title to the man underneath, I knew I couldn't walk away. Not yet. I'll stay. The next 3 days were the strangest. Most wonderful of my life, Khaled had official duties he couldn't ignore. But every moment he could steal, he spent with me. He showed me Dubai, not the tourist version, but his Dubai. Hidden gardens. Hidden gardens. Quiet museums. Small restaurants where we could sit and talk without being recognized. We were careful. Neither of us acknowledged what was building between us. But it was there. In every glance, every accidental touch, every moment that stretched too long and felt to right. Tell me about London, he said one afternoon as we walked through a spice market. So I did. I told him about rainy Sundays and pub quizzes, about my tiny flat and terrible roommates, about working freelance and never quite making enough money, about feeling like I was always on the outside looking in. It sounds perfect, he said wistfully. It's ordinary. Ordinary sounds like heaven. I stopped walking. Khaled, I know, he smiled sadly. I know it's impossible. I know we're from different worlds. I know this can't. I know, but he took my hand anyway, right there in the market with people around us. He took my hand and held it like it meant something, like I meant something. And maybe it was reckless. Maybe it was stupid. But I held on tight. The turning point came on the 4th night. Khaled invited me to a private dinner in his quarters, not the formal office or the grand dining room, but his actual home within the palace. A space that was surprisingly normal. Books everywhere. A guitar in the corner. Photos of family and friends. I didn't expect this, I admitted. What did you expect? I don't know. Gold furniture. Diamond-crusted everything. He laughed. That's my father's wing. This is mine. The one place I can be myself. We ate on cushions on the floor, traditional style, and it felt intimate in a way that made my heart race. After dinner, Khaled picked up the guitar. You play? I asked. Badly, but privately. Played beautifully, actually. A soft melody that sounded like longing made music. When he finished, silence settled between us, heavy with everything unsaid. Marcus. He set down the guitar. I need to tell you something. My stomach dropped. Okay, I'm supposed to get married next year. My family has been planning it for months. A woman from a good family. Appropriate. Expected. The words hit like physical blows. Of course. Of course, this was how it ended. I see. I managed. No, you don't. He moved closer. I'm telling you because I can't do it. I can't marry her. I can't live the lie anymore. Meeting you, these past few days, you've shown me what I've been missing, what I deserve to have. And I can't go back to pretending. I stared at him. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm going to tell my family the truth. that I'm gay, that I won't marry someone I can't love, that I want to live my own life, even if it means losing everything. Khalid, you can't. I can. I will. He took my hands. I'm not asking you to stay. I'm not asking you for anything, but I needed you to know. You changed my life, Marcus Bennett. In 4 days, you changed everything. The next morning, Khalid spoke to his family. I wasn't there. He insisted I wait in his quarters, said he needed to do this alone. The hours crawled by. I paced. I worried. I imagined every terrible outcome. When he finally returned, his eyes were red, but clear. How did it go? I asked badly, then better, then badly again. He collapsed onto the cushions. My father is furious. My mother cried. My brothers don't understand. But I said it. All of it. And I'm still standing. I sat beside him. I'm sorry. Don't be. He looked at me. For the first time in my life, I told the truth about who I am. It was terrifying and awful, and absolutely necessary. And I have you to thank for that. I didn't do anything. You existed. You showed me what authenticity looks like. That's everything. We spent that night talking about the future. Khalid wouldn't lose his title. That wasn't how it worked. But his family was pulling back support. No more palace apartment. Reduced allowance? Social exile from certain circles. I have money of my own, he said. Investments? Properties? I'll be fine. More than fine. I'll be free. What will you do? I don't know yet, he smiled. That's the terrifying part. And the exciting part? You could visit London, I offered carefully. His eyes lit up. Could I? I mean, my flat is tiny and my roommates are disasters, but ... yeah. If you want to do, I want. He moved closer. Marcus, these past few days with you have been the happiest of my life. I know it's fast. I know we barely know each other, but I don't want this to end. I don't want to say goodbye and never see you again. My heart was going to explode. I don't want that either. Then don't go. Not yet. Stay a few more days. Let's see where this goes. And if it goes somewhere impossible, then we'll figure it out together. I stayed 2 more weeks. 2 weeks of discovering Dubai through Khalid's eyes. 2 weeks of conversations that lasted until sunrise. 2 weeks of slowly, carefully, building something fragile and precious between us. We didn't kiss until the 10th day. We were in his private garden, hidden from the world by high walls and climbing jasmine. The sun was setting, painting everything gold. And he was talking about a book he'd just finished when I couldn't take it anymore. I leaned in. He met me halfway. The kiss was gentle, tentative, perfect. When we pulled apart, both of us were trembling. I've wanted to do that since the moment you asked if I thought you were handsome, I admitted. He laughed softly. I've wanted it since you called my coffee terrible. It was objectively terrible. I've been practicing. Still terrible. He kissed me again. Reality eventually intruded. My work was piling up. My boss was getting impatient. I couldn't stay in Dubai forever, living in a bubble where only Khalid and I existed. Come to London with me, I said one night. We were lying on his terrace, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. His head rested on my chest, his breathing slow and even. What? He lifted his head. Come to London. Take a break from all this. Experience ordinary life for a while. Figure out what you want to do next. Marcus, I can't just... Why not? You said you wanted freedom. Here's freedom. Come stay with me. Meet my disaster roommates. Drink mediocre pub beer. Ride the tube during rush hour. Live a completely ordinary life. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, okay. Yes, let's do it. Let's be completely reckless and impulsive and see what happens. I kissed him under the stars. Khalid arrived in London on a rainy Tuesday morning. He looked completely out of place. Am I cramped? Brixton flat, but he was grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. It's perfect, he declared. Looking around at the mismatched furniture and water-stained ceiling, it's a dump. It's yours. That makes it perfect. My roommates Jake and priest stared at him like he was an alien. "So you're the Sheikh," Jake said. "And just Khalid." He offered his hand. "Thank you for letting me stay. You're paying Marcus's rent for the next 3 months. You can stay forever." Priya elbowed him. "Ignore him. Welcome. Also, you're gorgeous. Just needed to say that." Khalid blushed hand. I fell a little more in love. The next few weeks were magical. Khalid experienced London like someone seeing the world for the first time. He was delighted by everything: the red buses, the terrible weather, the accents, the food, the chaos. We took long walks through parks. We went to museums. We ate fish and chips from newspaper and saw terrible movies in empty theaters. He learned to navigate the tube. He made friends with the guy at the corner shop. He tried to cook and nearly set off the fire. Alarm. He was happy. Really. Truly happy. And so was I one evening, about a month after he arrived. We were curled up on my tiny sofa, watching rain stream down the windows. "I need to tell you something," Khalid said quietly. My heart clenched. "Here it comes. The end. Reality catching up. Okay? I've been thinking about the future. About what I want to do with my life, now that I'm not following the path laid out for me. And I want to start a foundation, supporting LGBTQ plus youth in the Middle East, providing resources, safe spaces, education, making sure kids like I was know they're not alone, that they have options. Hope." I turned to look at him. "Khalid, that's incredible. I have the money, the connections, the platform. I should use it for something that matters." Paused. "But it means going back to Dubai, at least part-time, facing my family, facing everything I walked away from. Of course you should do it. I don't want to lose you." I kissed him softly. "You won't. We'll figure it out. Long distance, frequent visits, whatever it takes. I'm not walking away from this. From us." He smiled, relief obvious. "I love you, Marcus Bennett." My breath caught. We hadn't said those words yet. Hadn't dared. "I love you too," I whispered. 6 months later, I stood in a sleek Dubai office building, watching Khalid cut the ribbon on the Al Rashid Foundation for LGBTQ plus youth. He'd done it, against all odds. Against his family's objections, against a culture that made this work incredibly difficult. He'd done it. The foundation was real. Already helping kids. Already changing lives. And I'd never been more proud. After the ceremony, we escaped to a quiet cafe, one of our places now, accumulated over months of me flying back and forth between London and Dubai. "You did it," I said. "We did it." Took my hand across the table. "I couldn't have done any of this without you. Fixed your computer. That's all. You did so much more than that." His eyes were soft. "You showed me I could be myself. You gave me the courage to be honest. You loved me when I didn't know how to love myself." My throat tightened. "You would have found your way. Maybe, but it would have taken longer. Been harder. Hurt more." He squeezed my hand. "Marcus, I know this isn't traditional. I know we're still figuring out the logistics of our life together, but I need you to know it for me. You're my person. My partner. My home." "You're my home too," I said, voice thick. A year after I first fixed Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid's computer, bought a flat together in Dubai. Well, Khalid bought it. I contributed morally supportive enthusiasm. It was smaller than his palace apartment had been, but ours. A space we've built together, filled with books and guitars and terrible coffee, makers and love. I'd set up a remote tech consulting business that let me work from anywhere. Khalid ran his foundation and slowly, carefully, rebuilt relationships with his family. His mother had started coming to dinner occasionally. His youngest brother had even volunteered at the foundation. Progress was slow but real. We took walks on the beach at sunset. We hosted dinners for other LGBTQ folks who needed community. We built a life that was ours, imperfect, complicated, beautiful. Do you ever regret it? I asked one night as we sat on our balcony, watching the city lights twinkle. Regret what? All of this. Coming out, losing your family's support, the hard parts. Khalid was quiet for a moment. Then he turned to me, eyes reflecting starlight. Every difficult moment led me to you. Every painful choice brought me here. How could I regret that? He kissed me gently. Besides, he murmured against my lips, "You never answered my question." What question? Do you think I'm handsome? I laughed. Still fishing for compliments? Always. Yes, I said, pulling him closer. I think you're handsome, and brave, and kind, and mine. Yours, he agreed. The story of how I fixed an Arab Sheikh's computer and found the love of my life isn't the story anyone expected. It's messy and complicated. It's about two men from completely different worlds finding common ground in honesty and courage. It's about choosing authenticity over expectation, love over fear, hope over certainty. It's about a simple question. Do you think I'm handsome? That changed everything, because sometimes the most important questions are the ones we're afraid to ask, and sometimes the most extraordinary love stories start with the most ordinary moments, like fixing a broken computer on a hot Dubai afternoon and meeting someone who really sees you and decides you're worth the risk. EPLOGU years later. The Al Rashid Foundation had expanded to 6 countries. Published a book about cybersecurity that did moderately well, Khalid. And I had adopted 2 cats named Binary and Code. We spent half the year in Dubai, half in London, and took frequent trips to places neither of us had ever been. His family had mostly come around. My family had reluctantly accepted. The world hadn't ended. One evening, sitting in our Dubai flat while Binary knocked things off counters and Code judged us from across the room, Khalid looked up from his laptop. Do you remember what you said when I first asked if you thought I was handsome? That you were very handsome, obviously. No, after that. You said I was just Khalid. Not the Sheikh, not the money, not the power. Just me, I remember. That's still my favorite thing you've ever said to me. He closed his laptop and moved closer. Because that's what we have. Not a fairy tale, not perfection, not some fantasy. Just us. Just this. Just real, complicated, beautiful life. I kissed him. Just us is pretty damn good. He smiled against my lips. The best? Should their story continue? Comment part 2 if you want more. Like if this made your heart race. Subscribe for weekly gay romance stories.